Hello, everybody. Are we live? Oh, there we go. Can everybody hear me? Hello. How's it going, everybody? Ooh, the SD-10 looks good. Okay. So here we are. Welcome to, what is this, episode 3 of our live stream series thing on assembling miniature Sirens. If you guys couldn't tell already, I'll be building a miniature SD-10 here for my online website, the 3D Engineer Mini Sirens. By the way, my site is open to the public now. You can visit it at the3dengineer.net. I should probably throw that in chat, but if you guys you can go to any search engine, type it in, and you can see my website. You can see what products I'll have in stock. What's up, Gaming with Johnny? Hello, RC Cars and Planes. Good to see you guys here. Hi, Siren Bench. Good to see a lot of long-time subscribers here. Well, we'll be building an SD-10, so can't afford those prices. Sorry, Tennessee Siren Productions. Save up. Maybe you can get one. Well, so here's the first SD-10, and basically when I'm done here, it's gonna look just like this guy, minus the sticker. That'll be something at the end. But yeah, it's pretty. This thing's humongous. I mean, compared to the Banshee, it uses the same size core too, so it's kind of interesting. It's just the housing that makes it extra big. But yeah, we'll be building that today. Imagine they made a 1012 SD-10. That would be so cool. I don't think Federal made a 1012 18-inch rotor, though. That's awesome, RC Cars and Planes. Hi, Fizzy Blast Official. You're camping right now. That must be really fun. I had a friend who just came back from the beach or something. I brought water this time because I get so thirsty in here talking. Now, not to keep you waiting, let's get all the screws and stuff. Let's see. My fender washer's up here. Oh my gosh. Thought that was only... Here we go. Here's the fender washer. I'll just get this out of the way because I want to try to keep it as clean as possible. I'll try and then fail miserably at doing that. Yeah. Okay. So there's a washer for the rotor. You guys wouldn't believe it, though. This rotor, and yes, it was resin printed. Came out beautiful. It accepts a weight. I can't believe it. I can't believe it fit. This thing's so small, but it fit. It accepts the rotor. So yeah, you're gonna buy my model too, Jev. That's awesome. Hello, Tulsa Metro Sirens. Yeah, there's a lot of people I'm missing here. Hello, David. Crazy Sirens. Yeah. Dang, I didn't know that, Siren Bench. All right. I'm missing a few things. And the first step is always find the right pitch, and then we're good on that. Something I discovered. These resistors, you may have seen them in my other streams if you guys watch those. They're huge. They're ginormous resistors, and that's because they're half watt. They're made to push quite a lot of current. I have this resistor kit here, and these are only quarter watt, so it can only push half the current. But look how tiny they are. I mean, is that even a comparison? Look how much bigger that is. So it's really something. I will use these today in combination with these, so I can get the right pitch easier. It won't take so darn long. You're getting a Samsung. That's cool. Where are you getting yours from? The ones on eBay are really expensive. Yeah. Darn, Siren Bench. That was your Longhorn 7V8, right? Yeah. $40 per motor is crazy, though. Wow. Yeah. That's why that's why his Sirens are on the much bigger, end of the spectrum there. The Samsung motors are expensive, and like we were saying in the last stream, they were going extinct. They don't make them anymore, so it's hard to come by now. Oh yeah, here's my screw kit. Okay, I'll keep that out of the way of the camera. Yeah. Well, you can achieve a crazy long wind down with weights, even on DC powered Sirens. Like this adds a lot of weight to it, and the spool down on this is like probably around 10 seconds, so pretty good for a Siren of its size. I remember when I was making the prototype SD-10 and the wind down sucked because I didn't add weights and I used a 380 motor, and those have really tight brushes, and it just, pew, the wind down was like that quick. Yeah. All right, so let's not keep you waiting. First step's always like gluing the washer to the bottom of the rotor. My super glue fell. All right, should use this kind of. This is super glue gel, but still super glue in the same way. Is that coming out? Yes, it's coming out. Okay, it's just not coming out. Not a whole lot coming out. Come on. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, don't sniff that. That definitely came out. There we go. And we have the washer in. 14 people watching already. Thank you guys so much. Okay, it fell again. I'm having the best luck just putting items where they need to go. All right. Here's the good news. You know how it sucks to, like, when you first press a rotor onto a shaft of a motor? Well, I did that in advance this time. And I could just press it right on the motor like normal. Oh, yeah, here it is, guys. I want to show you something. I don't know if you saw the post where I was complaining about those crappy 130 motors I bought, but they were tossed in a bag, a clear plastic bag. They were just tossed in there, and they were all scuffed up. They're all scratched up. Yeah. Well, look at this. These, my friends, are the expensive 130 motors. Just 12 of these is, or no, wait. How many are in here? 10, yeah. 10 pieces for 12 bucks, okay? That's kind of a lot for 130 motors. And the reason is because they're specifically lower RPM, okay? And RPMs with DC motors are always a fun thing with making mini Sirens. I finally come around that with these motors. Look at how smooth that spins. Yeah. And that's why the spool down is so long, the wind down. Yeah, the ones from before sucked. But yeah, and I will demonstrate this motor working really well. It might get me somewhere in the general ballpark of 912 rotor at 3,500 RPM. It's almost always a little overpitched, though, unless you get really lucky. Fun fact, guys, I don't know if this goes for you, but if you buy the exact motors I buy and you print my Model 2 and a Screamer S2, it will get you perfect pitch with no resistors. It's great. Yeah. The issue yeah, Siren Bench, that's the problem I had too. What the motor's trying to do is spin up the rotor to like 20,000 RPM at like 3 volts. And obviously the heavy rotor won't move it that fast. And so all that resistance is going on the motor. And honestly, it kills your motor. It's trying to spin it up way faster than it needs to go. That's why high-speed motors don't work for mini Sirens. What boxes are you going to use to ship the mini Sirens that you're selling? I have a few. They're not in the room with me right now. They're in the other room, but I use those. They're just standard cardboard boxes. They're 9 by 9 inches. They're like this big and this tall, or this wide. And I buy them from Office Depot. We tried going to Walmart, and the STL-10 I sent to Palmer Divide Sirens. By the way, you guys should watch this video on that. It came in I shipped it in a Walmart box, and it got smashed. Walmart, so yeah, Walmart boxes aren't the way to go, I guess. You got a label maker, and I don't have a label maker. I don't have a label maker. No. Okay, let's try to get this thing here. It's always fun to put on the motor with, without a, always fun to put it on without the motor cover, so that way it can sound beautiful like that. Okay, put the legs on. What screw size did I use for the legs? Oh, here, let me look at the STH. I think that's like think it's one of these. Let me compare. So that way I know what size. Yep, it's one of these. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so see you later, Siren Bench. All right. Hopefully my stupid 130 motor won't come up with any shenanigans this time. Yeah. So guys, I did some research, okay? And if you've seen my newer YouTube posts, then you probably know all about it. I changed the pricing on a lot of my models that I'm selling. And I changed them a lot. I was going to originally sell an SD-10 for $50, $50 plus shipping. All right. I decided to go up to 90 and see if you guys like that. And no, 90, I'll say it even myself, is way overpriced. It's ridiculous. And here's how I know. You know, guys, how many of you guys know Snow Cube's mini Sirens? Palmer Divide Sirens loves reviewing his. He gets a lot from him. Well, okay, his Sirens are like $75, $80, around that, 85 at most, maybe. And here's the thing. They're DC powered. They're 7th scale. Mine are 8th scale, so they're just a little bit smaller. And I think his old SD-10 is USB powered or something. But he has a history of like USB powered Sirens. So they're more or less they're like the closest to mine basically on the market. And well, I got his price range, you know, I was like, okay, his Sirens are that much. So I now he just said it, crazy Sirens. Now I'll be selling in Sirens like the SD-10 for like $75. That's the price. That is the final price. Unless I'm making too much or too little profit, I probably won't be changing that price a whole lot. You know? So yeah, do let me know what you guys think. 75, is that a good, reasonable deal on a Siren, Because a lot of work goes into making these things. Right now I'm just putting the roof mount on. But yeah, so yeah, and this SD-10 here, for example, will be $80. And the reason why it's not 75 is because a little more filament goes into printing, a little more time and filament goes into printing the cones for it. So that's why, just a little bit more. But yeah, it's pretty sweet. Oh, losing my screw. It's electric screwdriver time. All right, here it is. I love using this thing. I just hope it isn't dead. Okay, it is not. Where's a Phillips head? I always use a flathead. I don't know why. I think they have more torque. Okay. What are you talking about, Fizzy Blast? They were 90 before. Yeah. Okay, so let's magnetize my screw. A rule of thumb for 3D print selling is 1 hour, $1. Really? I wonder how close that is. Here's the thing. I get some of my spools for free because they wash up at the bin store. Well, not for free, but for a few bucks. Oh my gosh. Isn't this fun, guys? We're watching me drop some screws. Okay. I can only afford the Model 2 or S2. That's why we have budget-friendly mini Sirens. The Model 2 and S2 will be at $60. That's just that's $15 cheaper than a $75 model. Oh, and the Cyclone, I changed the Cyclone's price so many times, but I think I've finally come up with a compromise. I think the Cyclone will be around $90. And the reason for that is because it uses a 280 motor, which is more expensive than a 130, obviously. And because it draws so much ridiculous current, I have to use a buck converter to step down the pitch. And I really hate using those. But it is necessary. So, yeah, that's why. Let's turn up the torque. on top of that, the Cyclone, I think, has the biggest rotor of any of my miniature Sirens I'm selling, and that takes a lot of resin to print. So that's a reason why it's a little more on the spendy side. Okay, look at that, where it's already looking like the bottom of an SD-10. Yeah. Oh, yes, they are, Jace. I actually have a few still. I don't know if you guys remember the old stands for my 8th scale line of Sirens, my 8th scale Federal Signal Sirens. Yeah, it's the old stands where it was just a little triangle and it just fell over and it was getting annoying. So yeah. Yeah, Midwest Sirens, I'm not selling the 2001. It's just way too big. Yeah. I considered it, but then how much will the SD-10 cost? It'll be $80 plus shipping, of course, but $80. That's just because like the STL-10 and the STH-10 and the Banshee will be $75. The reason the SD-10 is just a few more is because, I mean, well, I think for one, we could say it's a cool Siren, but for two, printing these cones uses quite a lot of time and filament, like I was mentioning earlier. What will the cheapest Siren be? You can check out my website. You can check out the 3dengineer.net, and my website is public now. But my cheapest Sirens will be the Model 2 and the Screamer S2. They're my only quarter scale Sirens that are like short range. That's why they're quarter scale, because they're small. Yeah. Oh boy. It's going to be fun putting on that screw right there because I have to do that. Look at that. Look at that angle. I think the last time I did this, I had to not use the electric screwdriver. Okay, goodbye, crazy Sirens. See you in a minute. Tight spaces, yeah. I don't really know how. I mean, you got to account for like, fun fact, guys, I have an SD-10 down the road from my house. Sadly, it's inactive, but I did hear it go off for alert one time, and I think it was a malfunction. But anyway, that thing's stupid loud. But like, I've seen the bottom of it. I've seen the bottom of the intake, and it does indeed have a screw up here. I don't know how Federal put that screw there, but of course, if this was a full-size SD-10, some worker like Federal's workshop would just get like a little screwdriver and put it in there or something, or not whatever they used to bolt it, because they use bolts. But yeah, I'm like, how did Federal put that there? They did. But yeah, velocity. You need to make sure you have the right DC motor if you're printing my Sirens, or you can retrofit them. All right. Yeah, I genuinely apologize to anybody who... Wait for that to shut up. I genuinely apologize to anybody who... For two things. One, if you bought the old 130 motors, the one with the white brush caps, because they suck, you're going to have to return those and buy these ones. And for two, I do apologize if some people are a little disappointed about the new prices for mini Sirens, because they just had to be a little higher in order for me to make a stable profit. But, you know, it's only a $15 increase in, on average, because, wow. The old SD-10 was going to be $60, and now it's going to be $80, so it's like a $20 increase. Yeah, it's not that bad. It'll be more than worth it. And the SD-10, well, it only comes in one port ratio, but the color that it comes in is customized. It'll be available in several different colors depending on what I have in stock. And this part's user specified if you can add decals to it or not. So if you want a decal on the deflection band, you can say yes or no to that. A lot of customizability. Like, I think the Siren of mine with the most customizability so far is the 10V, because the 10V, well, for one, is available in several different colors. It's available in Century Siren Cream, Century Siren White, Civil Defense yellow, and Fire Station red. But on top of that, it's available with either flat or tipped horns, and it's available in either 8 or 16 port. Because we got to remember, 16 port 10Vs actually do exist. They're just pretty rare. But there are a few, and they're really cool. So yeah, I will be selling a 16 port Siren. I didn't think about that until now, actually. Yeah, I will be selling a 16 port Siren. It's not a Model M, sorry guys. Maybe in the future, but I actually have my Model M right here. I won't get it down because it's pretty fragile, but it was just sitting on my workbench for like, I don't know, a few weeks, and it started scraping. I don't know why. Okay, the motors or the 390 motors aren't really reliable. I don't know why. So that's why I don't sell any 390 motor Sirens. Hi, that name. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. Yeah. Please no spamming. All right. I have left the models to base marker. Wait, what are you doing gaming with Johnny? I'm so sorry. Oh, the mini long rotor Model M. That's so cool. Is it going to be single or dual head? How much are the 130 motors? The ones I buy, and the ones you should buy, is $12 for 10 motors. So each motor is like $1.25 or something. No, okay. Welcome, James. I would have loved to go to SirenCon this year, but I just didn't really plan for it. I've never gone to SirenCon before, full disclosure. And I talked about this in my last stream. But I will be able, well, it's very likely that I'll be able to go to SirenCon next year. I'm so excited. This year, they had such weird Sirens. Guys, you can start bringing this up in chat. First off, that 7.9 port Sirodrone, I didn't even know those existed, but it sounded incredible. Also, I'd like to clarify, that is not a Sirodrone. That is definitely a a Sirix. It's a Sirix because it has 7 and 9 cores. And the Sirix borrows the rotors and stators from the Super Sirix, and it was available in those port ratios. I think the reason they call it or confuse it with a Sirodrone is because the Sirodrone, well, there's like a million variants of the Sirodrone, but more than that, it's I think it was the model tag that was on the motor. It says Sirodrone, even though I'm pretty sure it's a Sirix. And HOR is known for like not having super consistent tags, unlike Federal Signal. It literally says that on the ARS wiki. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's a Sirix, because Sirodrones never came in 7.9 port or any of those really. But yeah, yeah, it does say Sirodrone on the tag. I need to see pictures of that thing because I want to perfect my Super Sirix design. Well, I want to make sure it's accurate. I won't revamp it anymore. I did a lot of revamping on that Siren. Oh, you know, well, before I forget, I'd love to show you this, guys. Here's my decapitated Super Sirix. Yeah, the reason I decapitated it is because I have to reprint the entire rotator. I might not do that in hopes of printing another Siren, reusing the parts from it. It had a good run. The good news is that I still have my 1010 port Adrian, Missouri style one. That thing works fine. I really tried building the core for that thing, and for the life of me, I cannot align the rotors and stators. I don't know how the real ones work fully. I think they have a bearing in between the two rotors and stators. I'm talking about the actually the 7.9 port Sirodrone is a good example of that, the one at SirenCon. But basically, you got two separate rotors and stators being spun on the same motor and shaft, and I'm pretty sure that there's a bearing in between the second stator, so that way it can straighten everything. Thank goodness. We are done. That wasn't too much of a pain in the butt. Yeah, it looks pretty good, I will say. There's a little bit of a kind of a mark here from like, I don't know, the extrusion rate changing after it printed these holes, but I think it's good enough. It's like almost completely unnoticeable, so it looks pretty good. The front of the Siren can be determined by this hole here. That's where the cable comes out. The cable comes out of the back, quote unquote. So that is the front of the Siren right there. It'll look just like this guy. Yeah, I can't wait. All right, there's a million comments. Let me get to those in a minute. Well, I put my old SD-10 back. It's not old. It's, yeah. How durable are the Sirens? Pretty durable. I don't know. Durability-wise, the rotor, it's not super durable. That's because it's made of resin, and resin is known for cracking. So that's kind of probably the weakest part on this. But, you know, because it's protected by all the housings, it doesn't really get touched that much. Everything else, literally besides the rotors, are printed in PLA filament and PLA plus, depending on what I have. Yes, Velocity, I have a resin printer, and I use it to resin print all my choppers. And I highly recommend it. I didn't have to do any farting around with this rotor to get it to spin perfect, because resin printing is so exact. Really cool. Okay, now let me tell you the reason why. Oh, hello, EMC man. I just put this, I just put the legs on this intake so that way I could get a measure of what the pitch was going to sound like. Oh, but I'm going to be... No, I should probably use a USB cable. Guys, should I use the bench power supply or a USB cable? I don't know why I can't decide. Where are my... Oh, yeah, I have it right here. USB. Okay. You're right, because that'll... Crap's falling everywhere. Because I will get the most accurate, well, close to the real pitch. Which I will at the end, running it off a true USB. So, yeah. Really cool having them be USB powered, because you can power this thing anywhere with a power bank. You can go out into the woods and blast my SD-10. I don't know why you'd do that, but you could if you wanted to. I wonder what would happen if you 3D printed a mini Siren in TPU. Oh my. Well, for starters, TPU is like really bendy, and I think it would be like a flexible Siren. Like I couldn't imagine this. Oh, I couldn't imagine this SD-10 cone being like bendable by a major degree. I think it would be really weird. But again, stuff's falling everywhere. All right. Yo, what's up, the Model 2T? How are you doing? We were half an hour in. I was going to make the mini STH10, but the rotor did not want to print. I'm sorry, man. Wait, oh, I'm doing this backwards. I don't know why. Every time I buy these USB cables, the actual USB part is different. I kid you not. All right, let me show you this. All right, I'll get the Banshee out of the way here. They're different. Look, they're different. They're actually physically, the shape is different. You guys see that? I don't know why. So I keep buying from the same supplier on Amazon, and I don't know. The ends of the cables are physically different each time I buy them. So I don't know why that keeps happening. But as long as it's a USB cable with a bare end, it will work. But I think it's weird. I quite like the look of this one because it has like a slimmer, smoother profile. It also doesn't reek like plastic. It has no odor. The other ones kind of do. So it's a different material and everything. It's the weirdest thing. And the cable's also a little more shiny. So I don't know what they're shipping me, but they like shipping me these different USB cables each time I buy them. All right. Can't imagine what a TPU printed Siren would feel like. What if it would work? Yeah. Imagine a TPU printed rotor. So resin, fun fact, guys, starts as a liquid, okay? And the printer hardens it with UV, and it like, this is rocks. I mean, this is hard plastic now. The weirdest thing. It's a very weird process. But yeah, it's not like wiggly. It doesn't bend at all. In fact, if this was under any substantial pressure, it would just crack. All right, let's see if we get any power. Oh, I shorted the motor. Our little baby 130 is working. All right. Yay. All right. Are you going to make a P10 or P15? I'm so sorry, but I'm going to make neither of those because if anybody can relate to me here, I'd love to hear it. The chopper motor to rotator, like having the same motor drive the chopper, or no, having the chopper motor drive both the rotor and the rotator mechanism is really hard to do because you have to have a gear reducer, and a gear reducer puts a ton of resistance on the shaft, giving it a crappy wind down. And unfortunately, I don't know if you guys know, I won't be mean, but somebody made, I forgot it, I know his name on YouTube, but I can't spell it out. Somebody made a mini P10, and it has a really short wind down despite having weights. And the reason for that is because the rotator system puts so much resistance on the motor that it just kills the wind down time. So it's really hard to have a good balance. Now, what I could do, and this wouldn't be super historically accurate, is just have a separate motor for the rotator. I could do that. Connor Cruz did that on his Sirens that rotate like that. Like his, I think his mini 500 SHTTs were like that. No, not Harold hi-hats. It was, I can't remember his name, but he uses 390 motors, he uses 390 motors. Yeah. I should make a Wayland. I called it Wayland. Oh my gosh. I used to call it Wayland, but now I know it's Wheeland. Should I make a Wheeland Vortex? I tried that in the past, folks. I think I've been bringing this up every stream. EMC Man got it. That's the name I was talking about. No, I tried to make a Wheeland a long time ago. It just did not go as planned. The not that I couldn't do it, but the electronics behind it are like really complicated, and selling them is totally impractical, completely out of the picture. It is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So yes, I've considered doing that, and that's why nobody sells electronic Sirens, because they're really quite hard to make. Will you be able to create the T128, or is the horn design too complex for Tinkercad? Here's what I say. No Siren is too complex for Tinkercad. But honestly, the T128 horn is a big, major pain to model. I will say that. Yes. Your average Missouri dude. By the way, welcome to the stream. Yeah, that was him. I don't know how you pronounce that. Titan fan. I'll just call him Titan fan. But yeah, he never weighted his rotor, and it's got a really poor wind down, unfortunately. Really sad. But I'm pretty sure part of the reason why the rotator speed is so, or sorry, the wind down is so long is because, I'm going crazy here, is because a lot of resistance goes onto the rotator. So yeah, I could just try it. I could go on Amazon. They sell little gear reducers. By the way, yes, I have sales. Well, sort of. I just sent a miniature Screamer S2 to somebody. I will not mention his name for privacy reasons yet, but it was a special order. I'm not taking orders yet, but all right, any day now I will be fully taking orders. The only thing holding me back from taking orders was, I guess, what I had in stock. But I mean, here's 2 Sirens. Here's another Siren that will be in stock. It was the stock, but also okay, I'm missing something. But anyway, it was the stock, and it was what was I gonna say? It's not important. I was just holding because I didn't think I was ready yet. I'm ready now to sell. But yeah, excuse me one moment. I'm gonna grab here they are. Trusty alligator clips, or they call them crocodile clips in other countries. You're okay. Everything channel. That's a fun name. You're okay. We just started about a half hour ago, so you didn't miss like the fun testing. I'm just about to test actually, so you didn't miss out on anything. Just me talking and putting legs on this thing. So anyway, and from now on, I will be scheduling my live streams, so you guys won't miss out on anything. Well, hopefully. All right, this is pretty cool. We have everything hooked up here. And honestly, I don't know where this is going to get me, but we'll just see how accurate of a pitch it is. Fun fact, most of Federal's Sirens are bidirectional. So it doesn't matter which way I plug it in, it's going to sound the same. So here we go. I don't know if this will get me anywhere near full pitch, but we'll see. Oh, wait, maybe I'm not touching the... Me farting around with a 130. I don't know. Here, let's Am I plugged in? My first live stream. Nice. Welcome. I am plugged in. What's going on here? I'll get my multimeter. 1:35 a.m. Buddy, you must be in Europe or something. It is 6:36 p.m. for me. All right. No power. Look at that. 0 volts. Yes, indeed, I'm in Europe. Nice. I totally guessed that. 7:36. You're on Central Time. No, Mountain Time. Come on, buddy. Come on. Oh, dang it. We are just not getting any power through this fun network. Oh, there we go. There we go. We have power now. This is fun. I think my breadboard is like slightly... I think it's dying, basically. Wait, are you in Minnesota? Because my time is Central Time. No, I'm in Oklahoma, but we're on the same time zone. Here we go. That is the voltage of a USB. Fun fact. I love saying that. It's not truly 5 volts. It's 5.1. So it's a little bit more than 5 volts, which might be why some of my Sirens don't like to reach accurate pitch, is because the USB it's running at is like slightly higher, which means the pitch varies. So anyway, now I will be able to plug this in. I don't know. I always find it good practice to plug these in the right way, because there is a mark here marking positive. Can your Sirens run on 9 volts? Okay, so my USB powered Sirens usually no, unless you had a impressive network of resistors, or if any of my Sirens use like a buck converter, like the Super Cyrix, or like the Model M or a Siren like that, or even the Cyclone, it can run off any voltage, really. Can PLA Sirens survive blizzards? Because here in Siberia, the weather is unexplainable. I wouldn't use PLA. I would use PETG or ASA or a filament like that, or maybe even a filament that's rated for low temperatures. All right. Oh, yeah. This is going to sound great. No, just kidding. All right. We need to add, like... I only added 3 ohms of resistance, but... Yes, that was 2001-ish. Very high-pitched. Yes, indeed. So, guys, you wouldn't believe it. This tiny resistor, despite being half the size of the guy on the left there, is twice the amount of resistance. So it means I can stuff more resistors in there, because they're more space efficient. They're not more energy efficient. Cover the 12 port with... I have no idea. I tell you. Oh, I just like fun a long time ago. Oh, if the SD-10 was red, it would have been cool. Yeah, you know, I have this brilliant red color, and I can't wait to print a Siren like that in it. I might print an STL10 next or something. I'll definitely do a Sentry. I got requests to make Sentries next, and I will do those. How do I model an 812 port hand crank Siren? Okay, so... Oh my gosh. A hand crank. Okay, I've tried to make a hand crank Siren. Then again, this was like 3 years ago. They're not easy, okay? I'm no good with those gear reducer setups, and I mean that's all a hand crank Siren is just a gear reducer backwards. So yeah, it's really like a lot of pain goes into making those. You can make them, absolutely. I can't give you step-by-step instructions on how to make one, but I'd recommend looking at other people's hand crank Sirens, because I know they have some out there. Like on printables, they have a few, I think. You can see how they modeled theirs and just kind of get some inspiration from that. It'll show you how to do it. And modeling an 812 port rotor, though, I can tell you how to do that step by step, because I've done it before. You can either borrow my Cyclone's rotor or just have at it, model it yourself. It's really fun. Modeling the rotor is probably like the best part of a Siren. That's like that's like my favorite part of modeling a Siren is the rotor. But yeah. All right, here we go. This is 2.2 plus 2.2, 4.4. Okay, this is 5.4 ohms of resistance. Very, very precise. Come on, baby. Right. Okay. I think my breadboard, nothing's wrong with the resistors here or the motor. My breadboard does not want to make any connections. Because, I mean, if you see here, there's a big burn mark from a component that fried on here a long while back, and it's still scarred it since then. Yeah, no output. What's the deal here? Switch the other side of this thing. Let's plug it in. I love how this just plugs directly into the breadboard. It's so satisfying. Okay, we'll skip over 5 pins or something. Collector rings. 1-to-1 scale P51. Wow. All right, how about you get a... no. A 3D printer can't even accomplish that. Get a metal workshop, and you can make a 1-to-1 scale P50. Yeah. Chevy here on YouTube made a full-scale Model 2. No way. That is... I couldn't imagine making that. So, like, if it's a full-scale Model 2, you could warn a city with that. That's crazy. You just have to print, like, a few. Oh, there we go. Okay. Miles, make a 1-to-1 scale 2001-130. No. But fun fact, fellow subscriber, guess what? I forgot his name, but we talked about this in the last stream. He made a half... He turned my 2001-130 model into a half-scale model. Half-scale model. And it works. He's still building it, of course. I don't blame that poor guy. But, yeah, when it comes together, I'm really going to be excited. It's half scale. I can't believe it. He told me it used like 8 rolls of filament, which is no surprise, honestly. That man's got a big dog printer. I don't know how. I hope he made the parts thinner. Like the horn is already really thick. When you upscale a Siren, you should always make the parts thinner. Otherwise, it's going to gobble up filaments. My young brother's name is Miles, too. That's fun. All right. Let's hear this thing. I know you guys love hearing how loud this thing is, so I'll get the decibel reader here. Of course, we're going to read a high level, but, you know, just to give you specs. All right. DBC, because who loves DBA? All right, now, just prop that up there. Yay. What? Andrix. My Ender 3 version 3 SE prints 2mm holes, 1mm. I have no idea why it does that. Okay, I literally have that same printer. It's what I used to print this. And it, like... Sorry, guys. I'll get to the test here in a minute. I'm monologuing. I have no idea why it's doing that. If I were to guess, it would maybe be your slicer. Probably because, like, if you import a model and you import it, like 50% of the size, it's going to make the model half the size, and it's going to make 2mm holes 1mm. So I don't know if it's just a slicer problem. You should totally get the new... No. Download Creality Print 6.3. That's like the best version. Versions above that have like support problems. So yeah, I don't know why Creality did that. Anyway, here we go. Try to get this balanced. This thing has a weird alignment problems. Usually, oh, it's because this fits in here loosely. All right, let's hear what the pitch on this thing is. It should be closer to our target. Come on. There you go. Yeah. So we made an SD-10B. It reaches 3,300 RPM pitch. Yeah. Goodbye, Fizzy. All right. So what to do here? Let me remove that. Here. I'm gonna do it one more time. See what pitch we get. The pitch was actually a little too low. So let's see. Let's try it now. Nah. Okay, a little over pitch. It's like either under or over, so I'm going to have to find something in between that. So if before, doing some math here. Let's try 2.2s? No, that's what I had before. What did I do? Oh. I'm completely bypassing this kind of resistor, but that's okay. I dare you to test the SD-10. I don't know. I'm bored. Okay, well, how... Guys, this would be so cool. We can do a finale. We can, all these sirens are going to harmonize, okay? This is 912, this is 912, and this is 12 port. Yeah. Now, the SD-10 does run a little higher in RPM. It's just kind of how SD-10s are. A lot of them are overpitched. So that one is kind of the same. So it won't exactly harmonize with these. But yeah, STH11s don't exist. An 11 horsepower motor would be so weird, guys. I gave my SD-10 a break. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm having a real fun time trying to get the right pitch here. Okay. 20 people watching. Thank you guys so much. I know this isn't maybe the most entertaining part of the stream, but I'm just trying to find the right pitch here. What's my favorite siren? Oh my gosh. Okay, when people ask me like my favorite siren, that's like asking them my favorite animal. There's so many that it's like too diverse, you know? So I can't really put a finger on like my favorite, but I can give you several favorites. The SD-10 is definitely one of them. The STL-10 as well. What else? I really love the 3 T22s. The Model M's up there. The Cyclone too. You see how many? I can't put my finger on like another, on like just one model, but there are several. Under. What happened? I grounded the motor. That's what happens. Okay. Did I mess up my chopper? No, I didn't. Okay. We're good. Aren't Thunder Beams just hornless STH-10s? Yes, they are. I can verify this because I've seen a Thunder Beam in person. Video on my channel. It literally, the Thunder Beam reuses the STH-10's core, and they, stripped it of its horns, put it through a gear reduction system, put it in a housing, and now it rotates a reflector. But yeah, they reach the same pitch as most STH-10s. The RSH-10 is based on the 2001 SRN and the STH-10. I don't think so, not exactly, but from what I understand, I don't think the RSH-10 uses any parts from the 2001 SRN. I guess the only thing it has in common is that they're rotational. So I don't know why, but I can't really... Oh, gosh. I don't want it to be underpitched. That's like the saddest thing when a siren's underpitched. So let's see. I think it wasn't plugged in all the way. Here we go. Oh, heck yeah. That's it. How do you make your sirens not scrape? Help. Print the motor covers and put the motors in that. That's why this scrapes like crazy. Yay! I'm just kidding. My thing just fell apart. Okay, that's perfect pitch. Now, I know it's not like 100, like not like 100% accurate, but here's the thing. Just use a different USB adapter. As you guys might have saw earlier, this is measuring 5.1 volts. And let's say I use a different USB adapter and it runs at 5 volts exactly, the pitch is going to be different. So that's why with my sirens, you guys should always experiment around with different USB cables until you find one that gives it 100% accurate pitch. So this is really close. Now, it's close enough that I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much perfect pitch. I can change USB cable to change the pitch. Now, guys, this is maybe my favorite Federal Signal motor cover, but it's the GE motor. I freaking love these things. They're so pretty. Hi, RBP, or RPB, sorry. I'm having a fun time pronouncing people's names today. All right, now let's cut to the chase here. Oh, I left this on, huh? Okay. Fun fact, NASCAR sim racing uses the same decibel meter I have right here. Well, it must be good. This is a GE motor. I'm pretty sure. No, I'm very sure. The ARS wiki says this is a GE motor. Okay. I have been told by several people this is a GE motor. I know Northwestern electric motors look similar, but you know, they have like the dots in the middle and all that. But I'm 95% sure this is a GE motor. If you say so, whatever it is, it looks cool. I like the style of motor. Somebody found an SD-10 with a G or whatever this motor is on it, and it looked cool. They said it was a G. Is it really a misconception? Sounds good, RPB. Okay, if you say so. I can't verify that, but if you can, I'll go by what you said. That seems crazy. The ARS wiki says that this is a GE motor. So maybe they're wrong. They've been wrong before, but they were so wrong about the Screamer's rotor size sometimes. They said that, like, now correct me if I'm wrong, that S10s used 17-inch rotors, all right? No, they don't. They use 18-inch rotors. They reuse the same cores from the Banshees. I'm, like, really sure. So, yeah, that's, like, one of the things that they're just wrong about. They did change that page, though, and I'm pretty sure it now says 18-inch, but it was previously 17. All right. Interesting. Okay, well, whatever this is, it looks cool. All right. Now, this boy fits right in there like so. The 17-inch rotor is right. Why? Why wouldn't they reuse the rotor that's 1 inch bigger on the S10? Why? Somebody answer me that question. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I think it's weird. I think it's stupid, actually, because, I mean, I'll be honest, ACA wasn't always the most, let's reuse this part on this Siren. They make it so confusing. So, yeah, legit EMC, man. But, yeah, it's annoying. It's, like, really interesting. I don't know why they choose to do that sometimes. If somebody can answer that, somebody who's more educated than I am, I'd love to know that. No idea, Ollie. Wish I knew. All I know is, like, my local Sirens. Whoops. Well, sort of. All right. Now, what a 120. Oh, that would be crazy, man. Eclipse 8 on steroids. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that does spin balanced, right? Yeah, it does. All right. Well, funny thing, the 912 S10 and Howler is the only thing ACA decided to create a whole separate cast for. So the S10 reuses the rotor from the Howler. That's why not much is known about it, because Howlers are super rare. What a shame. That's confusing. Maybe it must be about the size of the Siren. They're like, we have a 912 rotor design, but we need to make it 1 inch smaller. Somebody explain why they did that to me. All right. The 8-port single-tone S10 is 18-inch. That's even more confusing. So, don't they have 8-port Howlers? Because if that's the case, they should reuse that. Wait, no. That means 8-port Howlers have 18-inch rotors, and the 912 was 17-inch ones. I think that's just weird. It's kind of like Federal went through the same problem, like when they were what's a good example? Oh yeah, like for like many of the 500s, they reuse the cones from the SD-10 as projectors. Like that's a smart use of it. But like, oh, I cut my wire. All right, and that's one of those things that just takes extra long, people. All right. Well, there we go. It's a little shorter. I feel silly for doing that. I'll try and make a GE motor SD-10 for the patriotic SD-10 I'm making. Also, the 3T22B's motor is on the way. Expect I need to make a video on it soon. That is awesome, Brendan Kimmins. I can't wait for that. As your average Missouri dude pointed out, they aren't really GE motors. So I think that's crazy, but if the information's out there, I believe it. ARS Wiki was wrong, I guess. Did coded P15s exist? I think I know P10s did, but I don't know about P15s. ACA is weird sometimes about the way they want to customize sirens. Cambria got replaced by an Equinox? Really? Dang. That better be a patriotic Equinox. No, I'm just kidding. I literally modeled my 3T22 after Cambria. That's why it's red, white, and blue. I thought it was such a cool color scheme for a siren. So, rest in peace, Cambria. For the longest time, the motor on that was dying. So, unfortunately, it's probably about time she's out of the pasture. Did anyone make a mini 508? I tried to make a 508, and guess what? That horn is a major pain to model. And with me not selling big sirens like that, I just dropped the whole operation. But it is very possible to make one. All right. Here, you know, I could actually... Yeah, I can do that. Gosh, I don't know why I did that. Okay, what I can do here is all right, guys, you got to think about this real hard for a minute, but I'll show you. We have the SD-10, okay? Power comes in through this hole, actually. And we have, the motor. Well, nobody's ever going to see the inside of this, which means, well, one, I didn't really need a motor cover, but I did need it for aligning the rotor and stator. But for two, I don't care if bare wiring is exposed here. Nobody's going to see it. That's so sad, Tennessee Siren Productions. Andrix, how long did it take me to print this SD-10? I can't really give you a full measure on hours, but for this guy, it was probably around a few days. It was 2 to 3 days to print all the parts for this, including the resin printed rotor. But yeah, pretty neat. We're almost an hour in the stream, and honestly, we're getting close. The rest of this is just wiring and then putting it all together. So we're kind of getting there. Maybe this stream could be a half hour to 2 hours long, just like normal. All right. No one's going to see it. Banshee 110. Yes, the Banshee 110 is a very bare bones siren and is why they upgraded to the 115. All right, so what am I doing here? All right, so I guess I'll wire this up. You know, I might want to hook up some external wires to it. All right, I'll use these. You know, I'm actually surprised that my workbench is not that big of a mess. I'll say yet, because it's it's gonna get way messier than this eventually. Hi, Federal Signal Fan 5. This is an SD-10 and it is in 8th scale. So It's just like a little bit smaller than snow cubes, 7th scale SD-10. I could have made it bigger, but that housing would have been a pain to print. And it wouldn't match my other 8th scale Sirens like the STL. Okay, come on. Okay, this is going to be real fun because I have a big jungle of wires back here. And, well, soldering might not be easy. Let's see. Come on. There you go. All right. Let's see. Where? Oh, here it is. Hello. That is D State Sirens. Is that DE short for Delaware? I don't know. I'm probably wrong. Let's try not to get my cones to smell like smoke. Okay. The magic smoke. Oh, no, not magic smoke. That's a bad thing. Oh, let's close this. Yes. Okay, good. I'm right. Let's cut this wire about that long. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm going to wire it externally so I don't have to painfully cram the resistors in there. And I could do that, but why suffer the pain of doing that when I can wire them externally? See, but like if I'm making a Siren, like I tried to do this on the Banshee in my stream. I tried to hide the resistors in the side, but you can still see them. So I actually went in my free time, adjusted the amount of resistors because the pitch was messed up, and I hardwired them into the motor cover so you can't see them. So it looks infinitely better. But yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. I need my hands. And guess what? Just like that, my workbench is an utter chaos. But oh well. One of my friends' dads calls it a straighter. All right. Well, see ya, Storm Chaser, WCE. That's cool, RPB. All right. Now, I won't strip this cable yet because I don't want it to fray everywhere. Almost done here. There are almost 30 people watching right now. Thank you guys so much. It's funny how many people love to enjoy me struggle to build these. I'm just kidding. But anyway, it's very fun. What is that? It looks like a robot. What are you talking about? Is it this? It's my helping hands. It's for holding stuff while I solder, because solder is very much hot. All right. Come on. Here we go. I came back because my mom brought some ducklings. Dude, like real ducklings. I love duckies. I have a goose myself, actually. All right. Let's say a goose. Yeah, just one goose. I need to get her a husband. All right. Let's get this out of here. All right, now we have some, ow! Now we have some wires hooked up to our motor. And let's put this back. I think I need that. Check it out. I can now wire into the motor. And remember, I'm wiring the resistors externally, so won't have to go through any pain of that. Here, I need to turn on. Oh, anybody see that? I need to turn this on. My glue gun. So there we go. Just like you made a square-horned STL-10, you should make a square-horned STH-10. That would look so cool. Unfortunately, those don't exist. Okay, I wish they did. They don't. Kind of interesting. I think the STL-10 came out before the STH-10. Remind me if I'm wrong. I think it came out like a few years after. It's kind of interesting because like Federal was like, okay, let's give the Siren square horns and let's give its cousin round horns. And they were like, oh, that's stupid. So they gave it round horns. But yeah, or at least that's what I think happened. Oh, look at how clean that wiring is. All right. Now we can like, well, once I glue it, I can mount it to the stator and see what our alignment's like. Look at how good that looks. If the alignment's good, great. If not, ouch, I'm gonna have to probably reprint something because it seems like the alignment was weird. But with a resin printed rotor, it should be pretty straight. Yeah. Great Valley, New York, a coated STH-10 is there. That's crazy. Yeah. I think the STL came out in 53. So like a year after the STH was introduced. I can check it though, but yeah. Thanks, Federal Signal Fan 5. Yeah. I noticed, I heard Snowcube's miniature SD-10. He's not selling them. Can't blame him. But I was right. The STL-10 was introduced in 1953. The STH-10 was introduced in 1955. Oh! So then the STH-10 is newer than the STL. That makes sense why the first STL-10s are square horns. Because Federal was experimenting with horns at the time, probably. That makes a lot of sense. What's the largest siren I can print with a 775 motor? All right, first off, if you're using a 775 motor, loosen the brushes, or otherwise the wind down's going to suck, or use weights, or both. And honestly, I don't know, 775 motors, like, they're like that big. They're like a little smaller than the Samsung motors. They're ginormous. You could probably make most, probably third scale and quarter scale sirens. So, hope that answers your question. I'm waiting for this glue gun to heat up. What do you guys want to talk about? I haven't tried to make a diaphone. Kind of want to make a clap. Can we just say how Federal Signal Thunderbolts are overrated? Yes, they're a little overrated, but what I think is even more overrated is possibly the Hurricane. Come on, people. There are no Hurricanes left. And there's like a bajillion Thunderbolts. I think it's a weird competition. And the fact that the Hurricane came out after the Thunderbolt, it's like really interesting. Thunderbolts are like pretty efficient. Oh, hi, Harold Hi-Hat. Good to see you guys here. Yeah. Harold, wow, that was a burn, Harold. Yeah. He's probably typing on a phone. I can't blame him, okay? Yes, I love Thunderbolts. I happen to have one in my hometown. Who doesn't? It's inactive, but I toured it, and I think it's a 1000. Now, how many people's towns have a Hurricane? Probably not many of you, unless you live in Milwaukee, and there's a lot of people there. But local towns, not as much. You're serious? Okay, somebody here has a hometown with a Hurricane. That's pretty cool. I'm just saying, the chance of you guys finding a Thunderbolt over a Hurricane is like probably 1,000 to 1 or something. It's a sad fate for the Hurricane. Wow. Yeah, Milwaukee has the last Hurricane, I think. Michigan, I thought Michigan had Hurricanes, but I could be wrong. ACA is very big about shipping or like making sirens locally because you see an abundance of their sirens in like Wisconsin, you know. I think they're big on that. And Federal, I don't know where they're based out of, but no, Illinois. They're in Illinois right now, but they had headquarters all over the country. That's probably why their sirens are all over the country, because they were like everywhere. Their headquarters was everywhere. Total theory, but maybe that's what's going on. Oh no. Well, let's just go there. I threaded this in and it was, I think my screw stripped a little bit, but let's see. They had 14. Got Wieland. Yeah, can concur. It's what happened with my town. I say, if your town has an old mechanical siren, don't replace it with an electronic siren. Replace it with a newer mechanical siren, like a 2001 or an Equinox or something like that. You know, because, I mean, it has been proven mechanical sirens physically carry sound further than electronic sirens. Not that I'm trashing on anybody who loves electronic sirens, but I think they're cooler. And think, there's not many mini electronic sirens. That's probably why. It's because they're hard to make. Hard to make, though, than all the other stuff I mentioned. But yeah, oh my gosh. But here's how I can tell. I have a Wheelan. It's a 4004. It's the same distance away from that SD-10 I was talking about. And the SD-10 is like twice as loud. All right. Perfect alignment. That is sweet, dude. Look at that. And even here's how I can tell my GE motor's somewhat accurately shaped or within the ballpark is because if you see pictures of an SD-10 core, the spacing, the distance between the end of the motor and the end of the stator is like about this. So that's how I know it's pretty close. You know, I'd love to get measurements of one, but I haven't found one of these motors in person. I did get a what? Oh yeah, it was that Thunderbeam I toured a while back. By the way, it's gone. I don't know where it went. It disappeared. I hope they didn't scrap it. I think it went up for auction because that's what the fire chief said. But anyway, that thing had a single phase Northwestern on it, and I could have measured the diameter of that. I wish I did because it would have been about the size as one of these. And if the claims are right that this is a Northwestern motor, and if it's produced by the same company, it's probably very similar in size. So yeah, it would have been cool to get measurements of that, but ooh, it's gone now. Very sad, it's gone. The 2T22 that was alongside it's also gone. I'm not sure where that went. The city said they'd reinstall it. I hope they're right, because it would be a real shame to see it go. And like 2T22s, even 3T22s, are like literally all over the country. They're everywhere. No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Someone tested analog. Wow. Oh no. Oh no. I need tweezers. I dropped a screw into the other opposing screws. Yeah. 25 people watching. Thank you guys so much. 16 likes as well. That's great. Woo. All right. It's electric screwdriver time. If Gaming with Johnny is still watching, he really loves this thing. All right. All my hardware kits are in shambles. Oh my gosh, that's too long. That almost stuck into the cone. Not a single one is organized. I'm sure I have a few scrambled too. I've just been really careful not to screw them up. Ah, screw them up, no pun intended. That was actually a really good one. All right, guys, I'll stop screwing up here. All right, let's use an M2x5. It's kind of a weird size, but I just happen to have a whole bin of them. So let's put them to use. There, that just barely sticks out under the stator. I think that's pretty close in size there. An hour and 13 minutes. All right. Yes, they're M2s. What else? I use M3s on my Model 2, but that's pretty much it. That's like my only siren that I will be selling that doesn't use M2s. My fun fact, my really old versions of my sirens used Imperial number 2 screws, which are pretty much the Imperial equivalent to M2 screws. And basically, they're like a little bit bigger though, because of course they're Imperial. I have used M1s. It's pretty small, but I can't blame you there. If you need M1s. Yeah, just be careful because those ones, gosh, those old or those small ones are like a real pain. Like, you gotta be careful that they don't break because they're so small. Where did... Oh, here it is. Hello, welcome. Will you make a coded STH10? No, but I've gotten so many people saying, you should make a coded STH10. And you know what I say? I have a video of where I put my 3T22 damper on my STH10 and make it coded, and it's very fun. I ran it in Pulse, and it was really cool. All right, one final test here before we, set all the wiring in stone here. It'd be so nice to just connect that, but I can't because it's not really how this works. Let's see. Oh, wait, it is how it works. Guys, on my S2, my Screamer S2, and my Model 2, wiring in the motor directly to USB gives me 100% accurate pitch. It's incredible. I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So, yeah, that's part of why they're so cheap, is because they're so easy to make. That's why they're my cheapest Siren. So, yeah. Well, let's plug that boy in. All right, we're going to hear this thing go. Where did I throw those cables? If they're on my workbench, somebody... No, they're not. I'll hear that. All right, if this keeps, working out, keeps going at its current pace, I will be done here pretty soon, actually. Just got to put on the housing pieces. Yeah. Have you made a resistor ring? I don't think so, but maybe a long time ago. All right, it's ready for some prototype testing. I'm so worried that my glue gun is going to hit the Banshee and melt it, so I gotta be careful of that. And that thing's really small, so yeah. All right, here we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. That's it, boys. And that should harmonize really well with the Banshee because it's also 912. SD-10. All right. Okay. Let's get that snaky little thing out of here. We can wire it permanently. So see what I did here? I used a combination of my hefty half-watt resistors and my higher resistance quarter-watt ones, and they handle the current. And, oh, how loud. I'll measure that when I'm done here, Jace. I have the decibel reader right here. But, yeah, pretty loud. Up close, it's probably like 97. Is that what it read last time? Yeah, around 100 decibels. It's not incredibly loud, especially from a distance, but up close, it is pretty ear-ringing. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I'd still do this. So, yes. Here's how you can tell that SD-10 rotors are smaller than, like, STH-10 rotors, is because look at the spacing again. Like, if you see a GE motor, or whatever motor this is, this kind of motor on, like, an STH-10, the spacing on the lip, or, this part here is going to be way longer because the STH-10 stator is huge. So, yeah, that's also gives me a better measure of the scale it's at. All right. I'm going to put this on. I think this is kind of crazy. I modeled the SD-10 a long time ago, and its design is, quite frankly, so good. I haven't really had to change it much since then. That this top cone just kind of glues on. Like it's screwed on, of course, to the reflectors and all that. But, at a certain point, I just add glue here, and it's good. So, yeah. Now I'll do what I did on the Banshee. I'll run the cable up here. Man, I can't believe I spliced that. You know what? What the heck is that sound? The good news is I'm not in a storm this time. The last time I did a stream, my last stream, we had a crazy storm. And, well, I was just hoping that the sirens don't go off, honestly. Correct, although I round it to 20.5. Because that's what the ARS wiki says. Okay. Why am I stripping this? I mean, you know, I'm just stripping the outer part on. Okay. Oh. There we go. There. All right. Here we go. I wonder why they went with 20 and 5/8. That's such a specific fraction. Did anybody see that? All right, I'll move in closer so you guys can see what the heck I'm doing, because it seems like I'm quite distant. But basically, I'm just running a cable through all these cones. Make a coded Model 5. Well, coded Model 5s actually did exist. What is it? The Federal codes, the old Federal code Model 5s, definitely had the option of being coded, and some do exist. I think they have the damper-driven ones, right? So it's kind of like a 3T22 damper on it or something. And then, of course, they have the ones where it actually shuts the ports on the stator, which is really, really freaking cool. But yeah. Or wait, no, I'm so wrong. I'm so wrong. There's one where they have like a gear thing. It's not a damper, or it is a damper, but it's not driven by a solenoid. It's driven by a little motor. But yeah, there's like 2 different variations of coded Model 5s. But interesting. Weird. Okay. So that must be why the ARS wiki says 20.5. It's definitely close enough for something at this scale, but it's kind of interesting how the measurements they vary. Yeah. Oh yeah. Seriously, that's so relatable. I was looking at somebody sent me measurements of a Model 2 when I was revamping my Model 2, and those inch marks, man. Those inch marks, they get so tiny. It's like it gets down to a 16th, and I'm like, let's round it to a quarter. So, is this thing on? No, I unplugged it. Thank goodness. I was going to zap myself. Okay. Now, here we go. I bet if I licked this, it would hurt a little bit. 9 volts are much worse, though. Okay. Has anybody else seen SD-10s where they have the deflection band, but they decided to put the cable on the outside? I think it's really silly. Make a cursed single port siren that looks like an SD-10. Has anybody seen that prototype SD-10? It's called like an ST-15 or something. And it uses a 12-port single-tone rotor from the Model 5. Yeah, I think that's crazy. It kind of makes me think, why don't like single-tone SD-10s exist? Because theoretically, like if this really, no, it does reuse several parts, or no, it reuses the core from the Model 5. But like the thing I'm saying is, why don't they have single-tone variations? Model 17 is 17 and 5/16. What? No, 15/16. That's ridiculous. We're calling that an 18-inch rotor, and honestly, something that small could be just error, user error. It could be like I measured slightly to the left and it's a 16th off. Yeah. Wait, you made my SD-10, but with a Model 5 8 and 12 port rotor? That's what I'm saying. Why don't these exist? It'd be really cool to have a single-tone SD-10. Oh, wait, no. Otherwise, that would defeat the purpose of both the Model 5 and other Sirens in Federal's lineup because, well, yeah, for one, SD-10 means dual tone. SD stands for like special dual tone or something. Yeah, but yeah, I'm like, I don't know why they don't exist, but it's probably not to push into the competition of their other Sirens. So look, I could do this, could have it on the outside, but I think that looks funny. I'll do that. Most SD-10s are like that, so yeah. That single-tone SD-10 thing is Federal's Super Siren rotor and stator with an SD-10 housing. What? Oh my gosh, somebody needs to look at that. Somebody needs... Okay, if we could get a look at what that rotor looks like, that would be a never-before-seen Federal Signal rotor, okay? What's cooler than that? All right, because I've always been like, ooh, what does the Super Siren rotors look like? Like, there's no documentation. On the ARS wiki, there is a page for the Super Siren, and they're just like, it's Federal's dupe of the Super Sirens, but we don't know what anything looks like on it. We don't know how the rotator works. We don't know any information on it. It'd be cool if we could get more information about that. So, yeah, I guess the... I know it didn't do too well in sales, but the 500 DHTT replaced it. And there's more of those. In fact, there's actually some in, is it Utah or Nevada? One of those states. They have several that are actually in service. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, I know it's a common thing to say that, oh, Calhan, Colorado has the only 500 DHTT that's active. That's actually false. There are 3 more units that live on in one of those 2 states I mentioned earlier. Yeah, really cool. Nobody's recorded them yet, though. They're in a super rural part of the state. Again, I forgot. If it was either Utah or one of those states. Oh, I get fuzzy there. Come on, boy. Yes. Someone go record these 3 DHCT. Yeah. You saw the inactive DHCT in Yonkers. That's nice. Yeah. It's a funny name for a town. Yeah, you can see Yonkers, there's it's missing an intake on the 8-port side. Or one of them is anyway. Yeah, somebody needs to, and then somebody who knows what they're doing needs to inquire about those, get them down and save them, because imagine a privately owned DHTT. That would be a dream come true for any enthusiast. That would be so cool, you know? And those things are freaking loud, you know, because they rotate. And the thing is, you know, it's always a general rule of thumb to say dual-tone sirens are quieter than single-tone sirens, but that's actually not true with dual-rotor sirens like that, because it has its own independent single-tone rotors and stators, so you don't get that problem. It's a full-volume dual-tone siren, you know? It's a dual-tone siren that's at least as loud as a single-tone siren. It's pretty cool. Dude. 2-port is crazy. Has anyone made a disc siren? Not me. I saw somebody make one out of paper and put it on a computer fan, though. Sounded weird. All right. 914 Chopper? Dude, 914 sounds like a cool port ratio. I've always wanted to know what a 1014 port... Wait, no, I do know what it sounds. It sounds like an electronic, or however you want to say that. It sounds like that, but as a mechanical siren, it's really cool. Hello, Commander Poultry. Yeah, 1014 is electronic. Yeah, it is. Yeah, somebody told me, is it Fidel code or Fedel code? Is it electronic or alertronic? I don't know. And I already ironed this out, but is it Whalen or Whelan or Wellen or... We won't. There's all these fun names we just don't know, you know? Not officially. Well, maybe. All right. And we'll cut these ridiculous looking leads. $914 sounds like 1016 port, but it's different. It's probably close to 1016. No, it is. 9 is obviously 1 port less than 10, and 14 is just 2 ports less than 16, so it's a port relative. I pronounce it Whalen. Yeah, me too. I used to pronounce it that way. Everybody scolded me of saying Whalen, and now I say Whelan. So yeah. 1014 is 710, but running at 150% speed. That's so interesting. You're right, because 7 times 2 is 14. Yeah. By the way, welcome, Mr. C's World of Randomness. Oh, I've started the flood of comments. Whalen, Whelan, Wellen. 811 sounds awfully like 710. Why would anybody make an 11-port Siren? Do those exist anywhere? It's just a weird port. Somewhere a 17-port Siren exists. I don't know why you go with 17 when you could go with 16 or even 15, but you went with 17. Okay, 11 ports interesting. 1-1-port Model 8. What did I just read? Fun fact, a single port Siren, unless you had a big weight on the end, would be impossible to make. Because the vanes wouldn't... The geometry of the rotor just isn't balanced. Ooh, that was a lot of smoke. Do 4 8-port Sirens exist? Yes. I think the Macro Burst, Century's new Siren, came in 4 8-port or something. And it sounds really cool. It probably sounds a lot like an 8-16-port Siren because it's the same fraction. What is it, GVEX? Negative ports are insane. What even is that? You have a mini 1-port Siren. How does that work? Does it have like a... Does it spin lopsided or does it spin without a problem? Macro Burst only come in 8-port, I think. That's true. But Palmer Divide Sirens got a dual tone one by them, I think. Has a wrong rotor, really? It has an 8-port rotor, or an 8 and a 4-port rotor. Okay. I made these lines way too long. Here's what I'll do. I'll get some heat shrink, and oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Okay. I'll add some heat shrink here so we don't get, anything, short circuits. Otherwise, this thing wouldn't work. Yeah. Blow the USB breaker. Okay. Now, let's see. I do have heat shrink, and I do have a heat gun. I mean, it's not really a heat gun. It's, according to some Chinese listing, it's a hot air rework station. I'm going to call it a heat gun, but that's technically what the product name is. Isn't that fitting? A civil defense yellow heat shrink. Yes, it's a hot air rework. I'm serious, okay? This is also one of those things that washed up at a bin store, so it probably didn't last too long on Amazon. I'm calling it a heat gun. Now, 3-6 port. 3-6 would sound... It's a port relative of 816 or something. Well, is it? Heat gun, yeah, heat gun too. I've heard that too, absolutely. But ain't nobody calling it a hot air rework station. All right, well, I have to keep going bigger, so hot air gun, yeah. 612 port would sound cool. And again, it would sound a lot like 816, but stepped down. Oh, look at this. The Mega Resistor. Oh, if I could get that to go in. I basically just turned my resistor into a giant resistor. Look at that. Look at this. This is all one resistor. Here's what I'll do. Let's turn on my hot air rework station. Okay. Oh, there's that cable. Okay. 910 port. Ugh. That would sound horrible. You know why? Because if you get a 9-port Siren and you play it over a 10-port Siren, they don't make a good harmony. So it sounds horrible. Just melt the entire Siren. I will be careful not to do that, actually. But since the tip of this is so concentrated, it shouldn't hit much of the plastic. And PLA has a melting temp of like 200 degrees Celsius. That's around 400 Fahrenheit. So it's really, it has to get super hot. Melts. Motor with it. All right. Yes, the Mega Resistor. Oh, and this is only at 212. It's at boiling, so it wouldn't really melt it. Yes, that 7-9-port HOR was at SirenCon. Here's what I think. That's not a... Oh, is the stream lagging? Oh, no, I can't see lag because I'm making it. That's what I thought, Velocity, but somebody here has a 1-port Siren. The reason why I don't think it's possible is because if you look, like, you'd have to change the geometry of the rotor. It would be off balance because you'd have one vane or something like that, and it would you would have one vane and one port wall, and it would be off balance. So unless you had a weight or like a ballast on the other side, I don't really think that's possible. 2-port Sirens do exist though, or they can exist anyway. I don't know of any 2-port Sirens. I know a 3-port Siren, that German Siren that was at SirenCon a few years back. That was a 3-port Siren. 4 ports obviously exist, Thunderbolts and Model 2s. You know, as a 4 or 5-port chopper. Guys, what's the highest port count you've ever seen on a mini Siren? Or not a mini Siren, just a Siren. Mine is probably that 12-24 port Canadian Siren that sounds like a 10-12 port Siren. Hi, Air VR. That's awesome. No, he was mean to me. He was very mean. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, it was 20-24 port. That's right. 10 times 220, 12 times 224. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds just like a 10-12. It's really strange. I mean, it's not strange at all. It's the same port, just higher. You have a 519 port Siren. This is going to sound wacky, man. Exactly. Who is he? You saw a P50 sound off today? That's awesome. I love P50s. I saw... Okay, here's what's interesting. I go quite frequently down to Texas to see family there. They live just south of, like, Dallas and Fort Worth. And I drive through it all the time. They have... I saw a P50 that, like, we drove by a P50. So it was, like, it was mounted on top of a building. It was so cool. It was really cool. It's not on any Siren map, or at least I can't find it in the dense jungle of Dallas and Fort Worth. But yeah, all the P50s are allegedly removed. So, or all the P50s in that area. But yeah, it's really strange. I'm not sure why. If anybody could give me some background on Dallas and Fort Worth Siren system, that'd be cool. But from what I saw in person, there was a P50 that was roof mounted on a building in Dallas and Fort Worth, and it's not on any Siren map, at least that I know of or can find. So yeah, I don't know how that's possible. Anyway. Sorry, Snowball Siren. I made a Cyclone. That's pretty much it. The Cyclone was hard enough to make. Let's make it rotational. Yeah, no, that was it. Making it rotational is gonna be hard. Here's the bright side, or the good news. I don't have to put an eye bolt on here. Oh wait, no, I just put an eye bolt on here. There. I'm pretty sure. Like I've seen a real SD-10 eye bolt before. And the eye bolt sticks down, the thread sticks down into the top of the motor. All right, I'll give you a little bit of background on why we're arguing on CNY, or why I was arguing with him. We just couldn't agree on, like, you know, he's like allegedly a genius with like the Sterling Model M. He just said something about the Model M that literally wasn't true. Okay, and I told him, no, man, that's not true. He said something. I actually forgot what the question was because it was so stupid. It was something I knew to be true, and yeah, it was just a dumb fight. Anyway, and then after that, he kept leaving mean comments on my videos, and I banned him from the channel. Okay, so that's. I hope that answers the question why I got rid of him. Okay, what did he? I forgot. It was so stupid. I forgot. I'm actually serious. It was something not true. It was something like they have 15-inch rotors or something. And that's not true. 14-inch rotors, people. All right, why am I sanding the top of this? It got kind of scuffed. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I have some mixed opinions about that folk. But anyway, privacy reasons. I won't go into detail, okay? Why did I turn this off? Okay. Okay, all right, everyone. Come up with a wacky port ratio. High ports this time. Okay, let me think of high port. Okay, let's go like above 10. No, 15. Try a 20-30 port Siren. No? You want it to be weirder? 69 420? Guys, be reasonable. How is it possible to make a 420 port Siren? Wow, that's awesome. Yes. That man is awesome. That man is a actual Sterling genius. He should work for Sterling if they were still a company. I have learned much things from that man. He helped me design my miniature Model M, which is by no means 100% accurate, but he helped me, okay? He really helped me. Tried to make a mini custom Siren. You know, I made one a while back. Where'd it go? Oh, it's scrapped. Yeah. All right. Yes, Century is actually the continuation of Sterling, but Sterling is unfortunately technically no longer a company. So that's why M10s and Model Ms, M10s were the Model Ms that were produced by, or sorry, the M10s were produced by Century, and then the Model Ms were, produced by Sterling originally. Which uses a 130? What are you talking about? Sorry, Air VR. I'll say is most of my Sirens use these little motors, and somehow they work. Yeah, Snowball Siren, I make sure that my solder is lead-free. No, you shouldn't breathe it in, but I do purposely try to fan the fumes away from my face. I'm also in a well-ventilated room. I have a fan on, and I'm not going to die or I'm not going to get hurt or anything. So, okay, I'm actually running out of a glue stick. You guys get to see my messy closet. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Where we go? All right, perfect. That's not messy. I just cleaned my room. All right, it was messy before. Yummy lead magic. I'm serious, guys. It's lead-free solder. I bought it from Radio Shack. All right. What's scary is the lead-free, or the allegedly lead-free solder you buy off Amazon. Because it's made in another country, they can put whatever they want in it and advertise it as lead-free. I even have a solder here that doesn't say it's lead-free, and I really try to refrain from using it. What do you mean mini Thunderbolt leak? The only thing I have even close to that is my revamped Model 2. Honestly, a mini... Okay, guys, hear me out. 8th scale or 5th scale Thunderbolt. You don't use solder. You might want to consider it. It's pretty cool. Air VR. What do you use instead? It's okay if you use nothing. All right, let's put these reflectors on. All right, I will, I guess I'll just blast it one final time. Make sure she's reaching the right pitches. Here we go. Okay, let me try a different USB. Boom. There you go. Don't worry, it was just the USB I was using. What was that laugh? Sorry, it was overpitched. Okay, check out the wiring job. I mean, I know it's not the prettiest, but again, nobody's going to see this ever, so I can make it look as ugly and horrible as I want. Here we go. Yeah, this is my resistor chain, and it's just a tiny bit worn. So yeah. Okay, let's put the reflectors on. I'm going to use some short screws for these, so that's really a good chance for my smaller screws to be used up. I burned my finger on my glue gun. Has been plugged for 1 hour. Plugged in for 1 hour. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the ARS wiki added something really cool to the Model M page. They now say, and this is official, that Sterling did indeed produce 12 port variants of the Model Ms. They, on top of that, they also talk about aluminum head Sterlings and long rotors and all the other fun variants. Yeah, I thought it was really cool how they actually went out of their way to add that. It is absolutely true. There's also a picture on the wiki of another 1216 port Model M, not the Bellevue one or anything like that. It's an actual another one. I think it's in New York, oddly enough, but I was surprised they added that, honestly. But I was thankful that they did, because it's a true fact. Is anybody going to talk about that weird 1212 port model, that Model M that exists? Yeah, they have. That weird, that 1212 one's insane. I can't believe that exists. Here's that. Bolted on. Is that bolted on reliably? Let's do an M2 by 6. I try to save on these screws because these are the screws I use to bolt the horns on my sentries. For selling mini Sirens, can you get sued? I don't think so. Federal discontinued the SD-10. Federal did not discontinue the Model 2, though, and I am selling a Model 2, so... maybe. So I can put Federal trademark Model 2. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe, actually. I haven't thought about that, but other people are selling mini Siren models just like mine, and they're not getting in any sort of trouble, and they aren't really trademarking Federal Signal or siren manufacturers. All the ACA sirens I'm selling are discontinued, so I don't think I can get in trouble for that. You know, Federal Signal literally trademarked the sound of the model, or the Q siren, the Federal Q. They literally trademarked it. So I guess I can't make a mini model, or yeah, can't make a mini Q. Thought that was really interesting how they did that. Okay, what does... Oh man, that sucks. Why are the holes too big on here? Oh dear. I need bigger screws or something. Okay. I need to check something. I need to check my modeling work. I might have done some sloppy modeling work. The reason I say that's because the screws on the cones of the SD-10 might be bigger than 2 millimeters, which means an M2 won't thread into it. Let me make sure that's not true, though. Oh, I'm doing this without a mouse, and it's hard. Anybody use Tinkercad with a touchscreen? Okay, W. There it is. Tell me that's not bigger than 2 millimeters. It can't be. Dang it. All right. I'm sorry, this is so boring. Blast! It's 2.2 millimeters. All right, I need to go back to the model and fix that. Yeah. That sucks. Okay, basically, here's what happened. I really don't want to say screwed up because it's a screw, but I messed up the hole size on the cones of the SD-10. They're slightly oversized, so it means that if you thread a screw into there, it's not going to fit just like this. Look at that. That just came out of the hole. Because it was bigger than 2 millimeters, and the thread itself is 2 millimeters. And the logic would imply that that's going to cause problems, and it does. So, yeah, I need to fix that. Oh, that sucks so bad. But anyway, if anybody printed my SD-10 and they're having some fun putting on the reflectors, that's why. Why aren't you? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm almost done doing this real fun stuff. There you go. Group. All right, and change color. Okay. There. I will change that. I'm so sorry, people. That happened on my SD-10 too. Yeah, it uses, it's not the like fact that the hole was printed on a slope. It's literally just the fact that I made the hole bigger than a 2mm screw. So, yikes. Now the reflectors is not a big deal. I think the hole size on this is correct. Oh my gosh. So here's what I can do. Get the soldering iron and just kind of shove a little plastic into the holes, and it will look ugly, but not when I put the reflectors on. What this will do is make the holes smaller, ever so slightly, enough that I can thread into them. So yes, guys, I am melting my SD-10. Yeah. Okay, this one has a big chunk of filament in the way, so I think that'll make it. I'm so sorry if this happened. So somebody else printed my SD-10. Yeah. Adam, what did you do to get around this? Did you put bigger screws on, or did you just shove them in there? Or you like glue them or something? This is a product I have to sell, so I can't do that. I'll go back and fix the modeling because that was error on my end. There we go. That'll definitely thread in. I had bigger screws. Nice. Okay. That's what happened, guys. Remember how I said this was a really old Siren? It is, because it originally used number 2 screws, which are bigger than M2 screws. So yeah, it's wow, the most broken SD-10 ever. That's what's going on here. Yeah, anyway, I can't believe I crapped out the modeling, but I'll have to fix that. That's something I can fix. Oh, wow. These top ones are really tight, though. That's good. All right, we're good. We're good. All right. Yeah. What did you do, EMC man? Like, what did you make custom? You guys can tell me about this, by the way. Like, if you're building one of my Sirens and you just see something that doesn't work, like screws not fitting, you could tell me and I'd be happy to fix them. There, it's threading in. But yeah, that sucks. Like, yeah. Like, if something goes wrong with them, these Siren models have been around long enough that they have been print tested, and that the problem is probably something in the modeling. So, yeah. Anyway, that was fun. Single head Model M. Those are cool, honestly. All right. It's on the right. Yeah, it is. Okay. We'll put on the deflection band when we're done here. Who wants to see me screw the reflectors? All right. How about we use the electric screwdriver? I think Gaming with Johnny left, but he really loves this thing. And it's always going to make me think of him to some extent. Yeah, if you're in the chat, Gaming with Johnny, let me know. I haven't heard a peep from you in a while. Yeah, he's gone, huh? Oh. Nice. Nice MVP. Seen a Model M with goofy horns. Yeah. Could be a slant horn. Or, guys, we won't even talk about that 812 Model M that's in New York. And I can't even explain what kind of horns it has. The FS motor covers don't fit my motors. I have to shove the wire under the motor. Interesting. You're using a 130, right? Because this the size I'm using here. But anyway, yeah, whatever works. I don't know. Dude, that would be so cool. Yeah, I hope I might get a Banshee if a town nearby gives up their old Sirens. They have a network of 2 Banshees that are dead. They were replaced by Model 2s. They're on the same poles. It's really weird. And I think their Model 2s do an alert blast every first Wednesday of the month at noon. But like, you know, their Banshees are quiet. You know, it'd be really cool to own a Banshee because it's pretty much ACA's take on the SD-10, which happens to be one of my favorite Sirens. So yeah, I'd love to own one. It's also not nice. That's what we want to hear. It's also not like ridiculously oversized. 18-inch rotor, not that big. Even better would be like owning a Model M because they have 14-inch rotors, which are even smaller. This is starting to look a lot like a normal SD-10. Yeah, I have to do the top after this too. Delightful, but yeah. All right. Watch as I drop screws again. All right. Ah, come on. 2001s are cool. Guys, I figure if a Siren is going to get replaced, like a really cool Siren, if it got replaced by a 2001 130, okay, it has a decent replacement, you know? It could be worse. What if it got replaced by like an ATI? Ouch. Those, in my opinion, suck. Oh yeah, the old 2001s are sweet. The roundbacks. And they're so scary too. They sound so terrifying. You can really hear the 4-port undertone on the 2001 because of the design, the stator design. Hi, Midwest Sirens. Yeah. How do you screw in the stator cover? What do you mean the stator cover? Oh, I mean this? The deflection band? Yeah, I'll get to that. There's some screw holes on it, which I hopefully didn't goof up in size. And from the deflectors, just like the real thing, I screw right up. I screw right there, and I screw right there, and it holds it on. Dual tone 2001. Okay, I've thought of that, okay? And I've been like, how would Federal design a dual tone 2001? Well, for starters, dual tone Sirens don't really need to exist anymore because we're out of the age of nuclear fallout. But thing is, actually, I'm wrong. Century has several dual tone Sirens. They still sell to the day. But anyway, if they were to make, if they were to make a dual tone 2001, I think it would be it would have to be 612 port because it has to line up with the ports that are already there. You know. Oh wow, I really lost this one. Oh no, there it is. Yay. We get an Equinox and a 2001. Mix it together and boom. Yes. I thought about that. Somebody made one of those in Roblox and oh, it looks so funny. Very reminiscent to the 500 DHTT. It's even the same port ratio, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I'm noticing the Equinoxes, like several small towns, at least here in Oklahoma, are starting to get Equinoxes because they're super budget friendly. And I think they're really cool. There's one nearby me that a while back I made a post of. I wanted to tour it, but I didn't have enough time. But I stopped by there one time and got pictures of it. It was really awesome. It was an actual Equinox. I've seen lots of 130s, but like Equinox, yeah, that was my first Equinox. And it was, I mean, it's literally less than 20 miles from my house right now. So yeah, really cool to be close to an Equinox. Yeah. I'm thinking if they did make a dual tone 2001, hear me out, this wouldn't be efficient by any means necessary. They would have, you know, the 2001 rotor, get rid of the 4-port undertone, have it fully vaned, right? So it's like an STH10 rotor. Have it half vaned, so that way there's 6 long vanes, 6 short ones. Have the long vanes, like, have it stacked like an SD-10 rotor, and boom, 612 port rotor. But yeah, it'd be really cool. Oh wait, yeah, no, only have 6 vent. Yeah, that would work. That would work. I'm serious. A 612 port. And then on the stator, of course, have half the ports be, have it line up to the ports on the rotor, and boom, 612 port 2001. I can't think of any other way to make it dual tone other than having a weird set of throats on the stator. Okay. So this is driving me nuts. We're going up. Great SD-10, guys. This is definitely a finished product. Now we're getting close. We're getting close. Yeah, it would. And they were 15-inch too, velocity. Bah! So how would the throats on that work, though? That's like the only problem. I guess, you can kind of do what they did on the P50, where they just threw the separate rows of ports into a giant cone and said, it's loud enough. They could do that. Wow, a blue SD-10. That's cool. Is it marine or something? Dude, I can't screw anything. Dual tone Eclipse 8. That could be like 6. No, it'd be like 816. That'd be so cool. I just don't know how that would work because of the horns. But actually, that's actually the whole reason why Federal designed the SD-10 in the first place, was they wanted a dual tone siren that they wanted an omnidirectional dual tone siren, right? That projected sound outward, like the STL-10 does and the STH-10 do with horns. And that's why the SD-10 got its design. It literally says it in the wiki. This is a big horn, see? But yeah, it's dual tone. It's really cool. Okay, almost there, guys. Just gotta get the top screws, and then these screws, pop the top on, put it in an eye bolt, and we'll be done. Oh, here it is. Someone needs to make a prototype mini Thunderbolt. Do we know a whole lot about the prototypes? Do we? I think we do. That's interesting. So, guys, here's how I got the screws to fit, because they were oversized. I got the screws to fit, like the holes are oversized. I got them to fit by just getting my soldering iron, melting the plastic around them a little bit, so that way the holes are smaller. It shrinks them, and it makes them way tighter. That's what I did. That's how I even got this to work. Dual tone T121. Hey, I'm modeling that right now. Not a dual tone one, but a T121. And a T1. No, not a T128. T121 and T112. Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope to sell those, actually, because it can't be that hard to sell. I do worry about, like, the horns, but, I'll have the user assemble them. It'll be shipped without the horns. Okay, guys, look at that. It's an SD-10. Oh, boy, we're overdue a little bit. We're 2 hours in, but, I mean, this thing looks awesome. Let's see. Let's see what I can do. This would go on top, and I mean that's pretty much an SD-10 right there. Let's go on the side. Actually, I'm gonna put it upside down. Hello, Chopper. Yeah. Dual tone Model 2. Those exist. We have Model 2Ts. They're 4.5 port, or that weird 5.6 port one that exists. Yeah. Yeah. Probably the modulator. The Model 2T exists already. Yeah. I love that. That's so funny. It's so true. Okay. 24 people watching. Thank you guys so much. We're almost done here. Does a single tone Styratone exist? I don't know much about those, but pretty sure it's configurable based on what controller it has. All right, baby. Oh, a bit more. Oh yeah, felt that. I'm glad I used such short stubby screws because these barely stick out and it's not very dangerous because, you know, it's just the very tip of the screw. Dual tone SD-10. I feel like to get that to even work, you would it just doesn't work with the horns. No, it just doesn't work with the horns. Yes, that's kind of what the 2T22 is for. It's a dual tone horned model. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of how that would work, honestly. Hear me out, guys. Single tone 2T22. It could be, you know, either 10-10 port or 12-12. It'd be really cool. No, you can't put a 9-12 port rotor on a 12 port stator. It wouldn't. It sounds weird. It sounds very weird. I've done it before. It does not sound good. You can actually do that. Maybe it would block out the ports because it's a multiple of 3. Anyway, what is it, Midwest Sirens? Come on. Oh, there we go. Oh, crap. Wait, hang on. You guys wouldn't believe this, but... Oh. No! Good, that's the only one I did. I made a boo-boo. Let me show you why. This, you guys are going to think this is crazy. The flipping deflection band is directional. That means I can put it in upside down, and it's upside down. Here, I can just pull this. Just pull this. Just pull this. Okay. No, I don't think they did. I have to chop wires. I mean, how important is it to get it on there in the right direction? It's just that it's going to twist it a little bit if I don't. Oh. Maybe not. Why didn't I make this bidirectional? Oh, no, it'll work. That fits on there perfectly. Okay, false alarm. Maybe. I'll know it when I put it together. I'll be like, this doesn't fit. Yeah. If anybody built my SD-10 and they weren't paying attention to this part, they might notice that you can install the deflection band upside down. It's not real easy to do that, though, but it is possible. I mean, it's threading in, so I imagine it's going to work. Even if it doesn't, I still think just screw it, just do it anyway. I keep using that word with the verb tense of the fact that I'm using screws, so I keep turning it into a joke every time. Okay. I'm going crazy. Okay, what are we talking about? Coded quad tone 23, 43, 53, 53 port 2001. Guys, coded P50, that could actually exist, but I feel like it draws in too much air for like a thing to exist. For like a damper, you know? You'd need a huge damper to shut the air on that thing. Okay. Why are you going in? I'm getting close. There you go. Okay. All satisfying when it works how it should. Okay. Guys, I assure you, by the 2.5 hour mark, we will be done. It's just right now, it's putting in tedious number 2 or M2 screws. All right, I think I can put this back on now. Yoink. You guys can watch this from the top. It's going to look really interesting. Oh, crap. It's going to look really interesting. Yeah, you get to see the wires get tangled. Yeah, no. RPB, I will say, somebody, I keep forgetting the name, I'm so sorry, is making my 2001 130. He upscaled it, and it's half scale, and it works. I think it's crazy. So, I mean, already, like, if I had made an 8-scale Siren and I wanted to make it quarter scale, I'd increase its size by 200%. I already think that's like already such a pain. So imagine going from half scale to full scale. It's just crazy. Okay. Half scale's the limit on most Sirens, unless it's a Model 2. But that's still crazy in my eyes. Oh, crap. Here it is. What I'm going to do is just, attach it. All right, let's go good old manual here, because I'm always going to have some level of extra control with a manual screwdriver. Here, I'm not, yeah, that is right. By the way, the deflection band is in the right direction, or maybe it's such a small increment to the left that it doesn't matter. Yes, you would have to cover the build plate with like a 1/6 of the, like quarter scale P50s are so big already, you have to like chop up the horn into quarters. So imagine that. And honestly, when it gets that big, they're not even really mini Sirens anymore. You've stretched that phrase too much. It's not mini. Yeah, guys. 4th scale P50. Yeah, lots of those exist. Harold Hi-Hat built one. I don't know if he's still here in the chat, but shout out to him. His model's like incredible. Like I saw it, and it is modeled. It is modeled very well. There's no way. So is that why people keep printing green Hurricanes? There actually was one in existence. I think that's such a weird color to make a Siren in. Green just doesn't mean anything usually, unless it's a Girl Scout 2001. But yeah, it's a lucky Siren. Okay. That's crazy, dude. Well, I have like 2 spools of green filament. Maybe I should use it on something weird like that. Maybe I can make, like, if it's like St. Patrick's Day or something, I'll make a green Siren. Oh yeah, there you go. We're just about done here, guys. I gave myself like 15 minutes and we're almost there. Look at that. I think the amount of screws there is in here, I mean, it's reasonable, but like, pretty cool. What scale would a mini P50 be? Comparable in size to a 6 scale SD-10? Well, it would be 6 scale, wouldn't it be? Velocity. Hi, Gaming with Johnny. Hey, I literally was just like, where did he go? Because I kept using my electric screwdriver, and it always makes me think of you because you seem so fascinated by it. Yeah, you should, if you like one, if you really like using them, you should buy one. They're really quite handy. Yeah. Cow. There is a cow 2001. Yes. All right. Come on, boy. We are almost done here, by the way. Oh, that's so cool. I don't normally like putting the seams on weird spots on my models, but like, look, guys, look where I put the seam on the SD-10. It looks just like where the deflection band, the two metal pieces meet. It looks so cool. It looks genuine. It looks official, you know. And I didn't do that on the cones because I hid the seam under the reflectors because, you know, it looks ugly if you put it anywhere else. It likes to blob along the seam a little bit, so probably just a printer problem I need to fix, but yeah. I was like so mad. I was printing my 3T22, right? And I was like, why is the seam like it bends so much? The seam bent. It was like bent. Anyway, could not for the life of me get the seams on that on those horns to be straight when it printed. It was literally just 100% a slicer issue, and more than that, it was user error because I didn't know that there was a seam painter tool in most slicers, and mine just happened to have that. So anyway, now when I make Sirens, I put the seam exactly where I want it to be, and it's perfectly straight. But yeah, before it would just curve. It looked hilarious. I was trying to print a motor cover for my 40V2T because I was trying to revive it because it broke again, and that was the problem. Yeah. Yeah, it might be an old Ender 3 RBP. The new models are much better. Oh. Like an original Ender 3 is going to last you like not long. Probably not, unless you give it an insane amount of grace. There you go. Yeah, I was using the electric screwdriver, but I feel like I have more control on these swirly little places. So A1 mini, that's awesome. Or just an A1, not even a mini. Probably should have added the seam side on the back, but yeah. I am this far and I'm not turning back. Actually, I could take off the screws and then just rotate this. Velocity, probably the Ender 3V3 SE or KE. It's like the Ender 3, but 10 times better. All right, cool update, Southwest Sirens. Wait, you're real 2001, right? You own a real 2001. Yeah. Yeah, that one. That's so cool. I'll try not to change my profile picture so that way the sticker you put on it isn't outdated. I will say, I now have a logo for my website, so if you want to put that on there too, that'd be awesome. Right. Yeah, 2001 DC. That's awesome. Older 2001s are so cool. It's got a Thunderbolt. Yeah. 2001 DCs have the Thunderbolt rotator. Okay, guys, 2 more screws and we're done. 2 more screws. Two more screws and an eye bolt. Right. And guess what? I have 10 minutes. I mean, I was just kind of giving myself till an hour and a half, or 2.5 hours. But yeah, we'll be done by then for sure. If I can get this screw. All right. Nah. You know what? We're going to try the electric screwdriver. All right, let's... All right. Oh, no, not the Super Banshee. Guys, the Super Banshee had a sad fate. I feel like ACA was trying to copy, you know, they were really trying to copy or, you know, they got inspiration from the 2T22 and the 3T22, came up with the Super Banshee, and it just didn't do as well. It's kind of sad. It could have been such a cool siren. Oh yeah, I felt that. I'd have to disagree with you, RPP. Unless it's an older model, that sucks. Mine has a direct drive extruder, so it just doesn't quit. All right. All right, here we go. I think we're almost done here. Let's see. Let's put in the eye bolt before I forget to plug in my stock glue gun, because I make a habit of unplugging that because I've left it on overnight several times, so I hate doing that. All right. Shut that. Guys, if this fell on the floor, I would rethink my life choices. I don't know what an F71 is. Uh-oh. All right. I have a whole thing of these. Almost done. Oh, if it's a Horman siren, I have nothing. I know nothing about those. Mini Worden, that's cool. Did anybody ever make that Worden Banshee? Because that'd be kind of interesting. Let's see. Is that? Yeah. Is that? I'm using the camera. That looks straight, right, guys? Yeah, I'd say so. These eye bolts are a little oversized. Oh yeah, I still have your email, Southwest Sirens. I don't think I'll change my logo. I'm talking about the logo for my website. That's if you wanted to put that on there. No, you should put my channel. You should keep my channel one on there. I don't think I'll change it. What port ratio is the rarest of sirens? One of a kind. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Look at how much that thread sticks in. That's why I said, oh, it won't hit the motor, will it? I really hope that doesn't hit the motor. You guys know what I mean, right? Oh, yeah, it won't. It won't. It has just a little. No! ACA, I am not going to ever try to recreate making a life-size siren. It went horribly wrong. Listen, guys, I'm going to buy a real siren, not going to make one, okay? I'm good at making mini sirens, not real sirens, okay? That's why I stay away from AC motors. That HVAC motor was a pain, man. I picked a too wimpy of a motor. It was like 1/15 horsepower. It wasn't even 1 horsepower. So it's no wonder it spun up my rotor to like 400 RPM. Okay. Ollie, that was a funny comment. Yeah. So Xylan, you definitely want to solder on electrical connections, but add glue for like parts you want to, fuse together. You can also plastic weld parts. I used to do that a lot. I still do it sometimes, but plastic welding is really cool. Like, those big side, like I've seen somebody's third scale Banshee had plastic welded louvers. Of course, I don't have to worry about that because my Banshee's absolutely tiny. But yeah, bigger models definitely need that. By the way, size comparison, these are both at the same scale, and I mean, just look at how much bigger the SD-10 is, and it's purely just the housing because these use the same diameter rotors, both 18-inch. I verified with Cool Domino, who owns both an SD-10 and a Banshee. So, yeah, really cool guy, by the way. Cool Domino is an OG. All right, now I'm gonna glue the eye bolt on so it doesn't wiggle around. Let that cool for a few minutes, and then literally I just pop the top on and this thing's done. All right, how about we do a decibel test of this thing because you guys really wanted to you know, really wanted to hear it, know how loud it is. So I'll put the decibel reader. I'll just hold it. But yeah, I'll do the SD-10. Then I'll probably run them together. Here's the SD-10. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that was freaking loud. Okay, now let's run them together, because what better than 912 times 2? Sorry, give me a minute. I'm trying to wire them together. Here. All right, here we go. Is this louder? This is louder. Dude, that was so cool. It sounded like a dual rotor Sentry Siren. The rotors were boosting each other, and it made them louder. All right. Well, that was a 912 Banshee and a SD-10. I don't know if you guys heard me say, it's louder, but the Banshee is literally louder than the SD-10 at sometimes. I think that's crazy. All right, there. I just need to pop the top on. All right. Popping the top on is always kind of scary, because it is a press fit system, but it's like a one, you know, it's not really supposed to come off, especially with me selling it. So, and let me turn off this glue gun before I melt my Banshee again. Or I haven't melted it yet, but I kind of worry that I will. Also, dude, STH10 and SD-10. Has anybody seen that picture on Google of like the SD-10 roof mounted with an STH10, and they're both gray? Oh, wait. I need to use this one more time. Wait, no, I don't need to glue this on because it's bolted on. Okay. Yeah, I don't need to glue the top cone on or anything. All right, let's go. Yeah, velocity, that would be so cool. It is definitely louder without the deflection band. I think this might, the Banshee might be slightly louder because it has a directional rotor. Wire it backwards and different story, which I did in my last stream. All right, now pop it on. Not really trying that hard, but here we go. Does that look centered with the front of the Siren? Where's the front? Oh yeah, here's the front. Here's the front. I almost put that on the wrong way. Okay, one side popped on. That popped on. Come on. Guys, this is just like that time I pulled off the rotor on my life-size Siren. I'm like straining to put it on. Oh, heck yeah. Come on, just a little bit more. There we go. Oh my gosh. One more pop. Maybe. Ow. Okay. Boom. Yeah. That's it. Look, we built an SD-10. And guys, I just wanted to do this really bad. Look at that. Brothers. Yeah. Identical. I mean, literally identical. They're even printed in, I think, the same filament. So, yeah. Check it out, you guys. Awesome. Should I run them together? Throw in the Banshee? No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to run them together. All right. This one, I don't know why the motor likes to rattle around because, well, it's old and that motor has seen some days. It's still a 130, but anyway, I will wire them. Oh my gosh, it scrapes a little bit. I told you this thing was old. Okay, I know what happens. The rotor fell out. I need to glue it. But anyway, now it won't scrape. Here. They sound almost identical. Okay. One of these uses a different 130 motor, actually. My old SD-10, because it's so old, it uses a gear motor 130. I don't do that anymore. So it might have a slightly better wind down because the brushes are looser. Okay, here we go. Wait. Sorry, one of them isn't turning on. There we go. What happens? I don't like to turn on. Okay. This is going to be interesting. Old SD-10 versus new. I'll have to see what this is going to do. Here, let me just unplug that thing. Alright. Sorry this is taking so darn long. After this, I will be done with the stream. Alright. There you go. Wow. Where's a little higher? Okay. This was a little high pitch or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's awesome. We built an SD-10, and by the way, this particular model will be on my website, and I will be taking orders any day now. So yeah, I got to build that other red Banshee, and pretty much I will be done. So yeah, I am so excited. Yeah, they liked harmonizing. I had to put my finger on the intake so the pitch would rise ever so slightly, and it harmonized perfectly. Well, yeah, that is the mini SD-10, and it will be sold on my website alongside these 3 Sirens and a 4th one when I, get the Banshee, the other Banshee printed, the red one. Thank you so much, Gaming Johnny. Thank you so much, everybody. That was a lot of fun. Sorry to put the Banshee for the. Oh no, I moved my camera. See if I can put the Banshee. Look at this. The Banshee's so small. But yeah, I really like how each of these turned out. I have no complaints regarding really any of them. Now, the reason none of them have stickers is because, well, when the user buys them, they'll tell me if they want stickers on them or not. Honestly, I actually think sometimes the SD-10 looks cool without stickers. That's just me. But yeah, like if the user's like, I want stickers on this one, I don't want stickers on this one, I want stickers on this one, then I add those before I ship them out. But yeah. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We were overdue 2.5 hours. But yeah, that was quite fun. Still within the time frame of, I think that's how long it took me to build the Banshee in the last stream, but farting around with all those resistors. But yeah, there are still almost 20 people watching. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys later in the next stream. Like I said, the next Siren I will be building should be, you guys remember this? Yeah, it's a Banshee, or it's gonna be a red 8-port model. But yeah, that's that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, I always end videos with you guys stay creative. So bye.